What's up guys, welcome back to the channel, and as you can see I have the Hawk back in the shop, and today I'm going to get working on extending the frame. Went ahead and started prepping stuff. I got the exhaust cut, the wiring pulled loose, and the drive shaft is loose. I've already marked out on the frame where I'm going to cut, so the next step is to start cutting on the frame. I also went ahead, out of the donor car that I have access to, I cut out 2 of these pieces of frame rail, so it's going to match the same frame rail that I have. So when I get this cut and pulled back, this is what's going to be welded in place. Then I'm going to put some big fish plates over top of this to spread the load out across both these joints. And it should be nice and sturdy. And I'll have my long bed wheelbase. Both sides are cut. Well, the sides of both sides are cut. Bring the lift up a bit. Throw the jack under right there just to keep that from falling. And make my final cuts, top and bottom. I'll probably cut the bottom first because I believe it's gonna wanna drop like that. Actually, I want it to drop like that so I don't pinch anything. So I am gonna drop this down a touch. Let's see if this drops a little bit. There we go. Okay, so now all that's holding it should just be the tops. Final moment before the truck is cut in half for the last time, which is the 3rd time. So, as the saying goes, 3rd time's the charm. There we go. Alright, I'm going to mark a spot like 14 inches back. Well, actually, probably 11 inches back, and see if I can't pull the truck back, pull this rear frame section back far enough with the slack that I have in all these lines. I know I got enough in the brake lines the way they are right now. I'm not sure about fuel line, and then I've also got the air line, the air supply line, and also the other, so yeah, there's plenty there with the rear supply. That wheel there. Chalk that one there. Brake lines move just the way I wanted them to, and I've got slack in these right now. I'll have to probably reroute stuff, but everything, all my airlines were temporarily routed anyways. I do need to do some of this fuel line. It's trying to kink. All right, I got it pulled all back. So now it's still got to go back more, and I'm gonna obviously take a ton of measurements, but I'm gonna work on getting the frame rails both back and front. Get the paint ground off so I can have a nice clean weld. Just get everything kind of trued up as much as I can. So hop into that. Alright, everything's all cleaned up. Got my piece here. I took some measurements beforehand so I can kind of get a decent rough idea of where I need to be at. So let's see. I need to be at 18 because from where I measured to where I'm measuring now is only 6 inches. So 6 plus 14 is 18, which I'm actually really close to being at. No. It ain't 18. It's 20. I did 12 inches instead of 14. 6 inches plus 14 inches. It's 20 inches. I'm at 18. Need to go back 2 more inches. Ay, ay, ay. I was trying to fit that piece and I'm like, man, this doesn't seem right. Well, you're a dummy. Alright. Well, now you can kind of get an idea, set here, of what we're dealing with. Like I said, I'll just plate right here, right there. I like it. And also what I'm going to do is I'm going to clamp a piece of tube or flat stock, something across the bottom of here to here to try and get these nice and level. Making progress. Pieces of new frame rail tacked to the rear section of the frame, fairly well straight up and down, left and right. So I'm going to start kind of getting stuff lined up where it needs to be with the cab and start taking just a ton of measurements, make sure my wheelbase is right, make sure I'm square, level up and down. So I'm going to just cut the camera off because that's kind of boring to watch and tedious. When I come back, I'll have these things tacked on, and I'll be prepping to fully finish weld all this. So, see you in a minute. I got both sides are tacked in place. Took a bunch of measurements from various holes in the frame to the axle. I did diagonal to square everything up. Everything's looking pretty good. So I should be good to start welding these frame pieces in place. Once those are welded all up, grind them down just a little bit, and then make my gusset plates for each of the joints. And that's probably all I'll get to tonight. I'm actually gonna go home here in a second, get a bite to eat. I also need to run to AutoZone, hopefully the universal joint that I ordered, which was a conversion universal joint to go from a 1350 series U-joint to a 1310 series U-joint. And I'm hoping, from what I've measured, that should allow me to use, this is the stock 66 Ford truck drive shaft that I had modified before when I did the dual overhead cam swap. That is the newer yoke on the older drive shaft, and that is also a 1350 to 1310 series conversion U-joint. If I remember right, it's a Moog 348 is the part number. Obviously, I'll have to make a cross member somewhere underneath the truck for the carrier bearing. But for right now, I'm gonna go home, get some food, and you guys will be back in just a second. All right, back from getting some dinner. Still here, let's get this thing welded up. Well, gotta love when you run out of wire. I also ran into an issue. How I said earlier, I was going to get the universal joint from AutoZone because it was supposed to be in. I called them on my way home. Apparently my order got canceled. So it's been reordered and it'll be in, it's, what's today? It's Wednesday now, it'll be in Friday. It was supposed to be in yesterday. But I got plenty of work ahead of me, so keep trucking along. Oh, you gotta love when this happens. Okay guys, well, after jerking around with the welder and finally getting that rat's nest figured out, I went ahead and welded all the other plates in. As you can see, got our plates all welded in. And on this side. And then I'm probably gonna do plates on the inside as well. They may not go all the way to the top just because of the way the frame is shaped. It's flat and then it kind of angles in. But I am gonna add some more plating to it. It's getting pretty late. Man, I am filthy. It's like 10:30 now. So I am gonna hit it hard tomorrow and hopefully get the rest of the framework done. And I might actually start fabricating the drive shaft cross member, but that's all tomorrow. See you guys tomorrow, which will, for you guys will be just a second. What's up guys, back in the shop on the Hawk and gonna get jumping on this frame. Got a few more plates I want to weld in it, and then we'll be moving on to probably the drive shaft cross member. Let's hop into it. So what I want to do is I'm gonna add some plates. I got a lot of holes in the frame from the factory, so I don't want these to be a point of cracks starting. So I'm gonna plate across the hole on this side, and same for over here, especially because I have a hole here and here. So I'm gonna plate this whole area. I really do think that it is extremely strong as it is, and it wouldn't have any issues, but just gonna add those other plates in just for some safe measure. Those top plates are all welded in. I think what I want to do now as far as plating, last bit of plating to do, is I'm going to plate under here on this back hole, or this back joint. There's a hole, where's it at? It's on this one. Right where this joint, where this angled cut meets the bottom of the frame, there's a hole right in the middle of it. And I don't like that at all. That's a great place for the frame to crack, especially on the bottom. That's where most of your load is. So I'm going to plate across the bottom of both of those joints, and I think the frame will be done. So let me knock that out real quick. All right, I went ahead and fabbed up 4 of these plates. These are going to go on the bottom side of the frame, and they'll span the joint like so. It looks wider here because the frame narrows at the top, but it's the same width on the bottom. And then I did kind of angle cut these ends and then rounded everything off. That when I weld everything up, you don't ever really want to weld across the frame rail. It's a place for a crack to start. So if you can kind of either radius it or kind of, essentially you're just spreading the load out. So that's what I'm doing by angle cutting these and then rounding all the edges off, or rounding them. That when I weld it, it's more of an arc, and it spreads that load out across more surface area on the frame, and prevents cracks from wanting to start. So I'm going to get all these welded up under here. I'm actually probably going to lift the truck up. It's strong enough now, and I don't feel like laying on the ground. So I'm gonna lift the truck up and get these welded on there, and that will be it for the frame. As you can see, I got, well, maybe you can see, got all our plates welded in, and I threw a coat of paint on them, both sides, got everything cleaned up. You can kind of see them a little better. And you can see how they kind of span the bottom of the frame, cover up the joints and spread that load out. Well, that's a wrap on another episode of the Hawk Project. Thank you guys for watching. We got the frame extended and all buttoned up. So next time I'm going to be tackling the drive shaft, as long as my parts come in, and have to do the exhaust, brake lines, fuel lines, all that little stuff. But the major work's done. So we're one step closer to getting the bed back on and getting the Hawk looking normal again.
I thank you guys for watching. Stay tuned. Subscribe if you haven't, because again, there's a lot of big stuff coming. Thank you guys for watching. Have a good day.